Hi 7th graders, today's lesson is 8.1.2 Comparing Distributions. Make sure you've shown your teacher your homework and you have your book open to page 442 or you have your ebook open to lesson 8.1.2. Make sure you have your title written. When you are all set, you can press play on the video again. (8.1.2) How can I compare the results? Comparing distributions. In lesson 8.1.1, you compared the results of two different methods of measuring to answer the question, which measuring tool is more precise? Today you will continue to develop your methods for comparing two distributions of data. The first problem we'll do together is 8.19, so you can write that in your notebook. Josh is just starting a round of golf. This first hole is 130 yards long. He needs to decide which club to use for his first shot. He has kept careful records about how close his first shots came to the hole, all from the same distance. His records include data from his use of two different golf clubs, a wedge and an 8-iron, over the past year. So we have the wedge and how close he got to the hole in yards, and then 8-iron, how close he was to the hole in yards. A says to create a histogram and box plot for each of the clubs. Place the box plot above the histogram on the same number line for each club to make a combination plot. Use a bin width of 5 yards. Alright, so I'm going to scroll down here and we're going to make the outline of a box plot first, or a histogram. Okay, so you start just like you do with a graph, and then on the bottom I am going to have my yards. If I go too fast for you, make sure you pause the video so that you stay caught up with the box plot in histogram. Okay, so on the bottom is yards, and then on the side over here is frequency. Okay, now I need to make bin widths of 5. So my bins are how big the bars are on my histogram. Okay, so this first one here would be, they have to be bin widths of 5. So this would be 0 to 4, because that's 5 numbers. And then this would be 5 to 9. And this one would be 10 to 14. Then this one would be 15 to 19. Make that a little bit smaller to fit. And then here would be 20 to 24. And it looks like I have to go higher than 24. So I'm going to do one more bin. Make this longer. This one would be 25 to 29. Alright, so now you're going to need 2 of these actually, because we're going to do one for the wedge and one for the 8-iron. So on our frequency, you go up by 1, so that's how many are in each column. Oop. So then this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Alright, and this one we'll do as the wedge. And then you need to make another one for the 8-iron. So you need to copy this again on your paper, the same thing, only then you're going to have the 8-iron. So I'd like you to pause the video and make another copy of this histogram, and then we'll work on filling in our data. So please pause the video now, and then when you have 2 of these drawn, you can play again. I'll work on drawing mine while you have the video paused. Okay, hopefully you have another one drawn and you have 8 iron for your title on that one. Okay, now we're going to work on filling in the data. So let's do the histogram first for each of these. So what I need to find out is how many are in each bin. So for the wedge, I need to find out how many distances were between 0 and 4. So I'm going to look at my distances, and between 0 and 4 I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to draw 5. So I'm going to go up to frequency of 5 in my range of 0 to 4. Okay, so that's how I would draw my histogram for that part. Then I find out how many numbers are between 5 and 9. So I'm going to go back up here, and 7 is, so that's 1, and 5 is, that's 2. So then I'm going to draw 2 as my frequency between 5 and 9. Okay, now between 10 and 14, I have none, no numbers. Between 15 and 19, there's only 1. So for my frequency here, I'll have 1. Then between 20 and 24, I have 1. And between 25 and 29, I have 1. So both of these are also just 1. Okay, so you're counting how many are in that range, and then that's your frequency. Now let's do the same thing for the 8 iron. So my first spot is between 0 and 4. So I have 3. That looks like it's it. So I'm going to write 1 for between 0 and 4. Now I have between 5 and 9. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to go down here and I'm going to go up to 4 as my frequency. Then between 10 and 14, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to go down to my histogram, and then I'm going to go up to 7 for between 10 and 14. Now I have between 15 and 19, I have 1, only 1. And then between 20 and 24, I also have 1. Okay, so that's what your 2 histograms should look like. So you count the number in each range of how many numbers there are, and then you show that as your frequency for how many numbers are between each of your bins on the bottom. Okay, the next thing we need to do is we need to make a box plot, and to do that, first we need to put the numbers in order from least to greatest. So what I'm going to have you do is pause the video, and then you need to have a line where you write the wedge values from least to greatest, and then you need to write the 8 iron values from least to greatest. Please pause the video, and when you play the video again, you'll check your answers with mine to make sure you have them lined up in the correct order. Press pause now. Ordered with mine for the wedge, so you should have 0, 1, 2, 2, 3, 5, 7, 15, 22, 25. And then for the 8 iron, you should have 3, 5, 7, 8, 8, 10, 10, 11, 11, 12, 12, 13, 19, 20. Okay, so now what you need to do for finding the box plot, I'm going to write this down. So box plot, you need to have quartile 1, then you need to have, so for your box plot you need the least number, you need quartile 1, you need the median, quartile 3, and the greatest number. So I'd like you to write that down to make sure that you have that anytime you need it. Okay, so my least is going to be the 0 here. So I'm just going to write an L that's my least. Then I'm going to write a G for my greatest. Okay, then to find the median, I'm going to cross out left to right, so one on each end to find my median. It's the same thing you should be doing. Okay, now I'm left with 2 in the middle here, so my median would end up being between those two, and between 3 and 5 is 4, so I'm going to write an M for my median. Okay, now I need to find quartile 1, which means that's the middle of the first half of numbers. So for my median, I'm going to cross out one number left to right. So I'm going to cross out 1 here, and 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. So my median, my quartile 1 is 2. Then on the right side, I need to find the middle on that. So I'm going to cross out 1 on each side, and I'm left with 15. So that's my quartile 3. Okay, and those are the only numbers that you need. And now I can make my box plot. So the way you make a box plot is you need to write lines at each of these points. So at my least, I need to write a line. So 0 would be the line here, so I'm going to make a line at 0. Then I'm going to make a line at quartile 1, which is 2. So 2 would be about halfway between 0 and 4. Then my median's at 4, which would be my line here. Then I need to make a line at quartile 3, which is 15, so I'm way up here. And then a line at my greatest number, which is 25, down here. Okay, so I have 5 lines for each of the things I need to find to make my box plot. Now you make the whiskers combining the first 2 and the last 2. And then the box goes around your 3 lines in the middle. So that's what your box plot looks like. You have 5 lines. You combine the first 2 and the first 2 and the last 2, and then you combine the middle 3 to make your box. Now we're going to do the same down below. So I first need to find my least, which is 3, so I'm going to write an L. My greatest, which is 20. Then I need to find my median, so I'm going to cross off back and forth. You should be doing this with me. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And cross off one more here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oop, didn't need that one. So my middle is between 10 and 11, which is 10.5. So that's my median. Then my quartile 1, I have to find the middle of my first half. And then the middle of my first half is 8, so that's quartile 1. And then the middle of my second half is 12, so that would be quartile 3. So now you are going to draw a line at each of these values, and then you will combine the first 2 and the last 2, and then make a box around the middle 3. Alright, so you're going to do that on your own, and then once you finish that, you can finish you need to finish problem 19 first, because we still didn't do B and C. Then you can do 20 and 21, and then you can get your homework, which is 23 to 28. Please ask your teacher if you have any questions on how to make a box plot or a histogram. Good luck!